Welcome to VPG's Virtual Water Cooler Chat Podcast, a platform that features professionals across a variety of industries and promotes growth mindset principles with a central pillar of championing the achievements of women. Our conversations explore a wide spectrum of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives, creating a vibrant mosaic that enriches our collective understanding and strengthens our commitment to growth and empowerment.
Today, we're speaking with Melissa Cohen, a LinkedIn top voice and personal brand strategist. Melissa joins us in person at our Urban Raccoons Creative Hub at Venture X Brambleton office. Melissa climbed the corporate ladder from entry-level assistant to brand vice president at iconic American fashion companies like Ralph Lauren. Then 2020 changed everything. The pandemic pushed her to reimagine success and gave her an unexpected gift, a deep connection to LinkedIn. Now, Melissa works with professionals, founders, and business owners to build powerful LinkedIn presences. Her message is clear. Visibility isn't about content volume, it's about distinction. Authority begins with clarity. And when you show up with a strong, clear brand, then you become unforgettable. Let's get started.
Melissa, how are you today?
I am so good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so grateful that you came all the way here to Brambleton, not Ashburn.
little mix up. It's okay.
I hold myself completely accountable for not knowing where to send you.
I got to see a really cool shopping center. It's really okay.
Yeah, we should go there for dinner tonight.
It was lovely.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, welcome to Virtual Water Cooler Chat live recording. And this beautiful background is a chat with LinkedIn top voice, Melissa Cohen. You and I have known each other for a couple years now.
Yeah.
Through LinkedIn.
Through LinkedIn.
So, want to talk a little bit about how we met before we get started?
I think we met in my very favorite way, which is in the comments on LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure. And then I know at some point I had you in my for to follow.
Yes, you did.
And I think we had a bigger conversation then, starting from that. And then ever since, we've just been really good friends and collaboration partners. You've invited me to do so many things with you, which I'm always super grateful for. I'm always really grateful for your support and your friendship. And here we are today.
And we have so many mutual friends like Julie, Michelle Morris, Lisa Gable, Cash Durkins, and Kevin Turner.
Kevin Turner, yes.
Oh my God.
The best.
Yes, the best. No, you're the best.
Best man.
Okay, best man. Got it. Kevin, don't get too excited. You are still the best man. So we really have thrilled to have you. And what's your personal philosophy? How did you get yourself to be a LinkedIn top voice?
So that's very mysterious to all of us. Nobody really knows why or how they choose a top voice. I was extremely honored and excited, and I still am. I actually remember when it happened. I was on vacation. I was away with my husband and my daughter, both of whom you've met, and we were in New Orleans, home of our friend Eden. It was a monsoon. Absolute monsoon outside, and so we were sitting in the hotel room kind of waiting for it to clear a little bit. I said, you know what, I'm going to clean out my emails, right? Because
we all need to do that.
We all need to do that. Me perhaps more than some others. And I, at the time especially, we get a lot of emails from LinkedIn, right? Because you can change your notifications as to what you get via email versus not. But I had a lot of stuff via email. And so I'm delete. And all of a sudden I went, wait, what did that say? Because it was an email that said, congratulations, you've been selected to be a LinkedIn top voice. So that was really exciting. A lot of people ask me, how do you become a LinkedIn top voice? And I really don't have there's no way to know for sure. They keep it very opaque on purpose. Mm-hmm. Which I actually appreciate, because I think if they put out the criteria, if they said, well, these are the things we look for, then what would happen. Everyone would start gaming the system the way they did with the community top voices, right? If you remember those were sort of gold color badges that you could earn for being a top voice in a specific category. And the way that you got those was through contributions to collaborative articles, if anyone remembers those. And so people made a game out of it, right? And they would be collecting top voice badges the way people would collect Pokemons.
It's like Pokemons!
Exactly. And so they ended up getting rid of the program, which I thought was a shame, because I thought it was a really nice way to reward consistency, reward participation on the platform. But, sometimes we can't have nice things because people don't play by the rules.
Nope.
So to me, what would make you a good candidate for a top voice is that you're active on the platform, you share knowledge in your area of expertise, and you're a good LinkedIn citizen, right? You support others. It's not just all about me. You contribute to others' conversations, you comment on people's posts, and you just share what you know.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I know a lot of people on LinkedIn. How many followers do you currently have on LinkedIn?
That's a good question. I want to say around 26,500.
I think that's about right.
I think so.
Yeah. I did my homework, I think. How long did it take for you to actually have 26,000 plus followers? Because it's different from connections.
Correct. So I would say my number of connections is probably only about a third of that, probably even a little less. And that's a big difference, right? You don't have to connect with someone to be a follower, depending on their settings. Some people don't have the following setting enabled, but if you don't know someone well, it's perfectly okay to just follow them at first, right? Before you send that connection request. How long did it take me? That's a really good question. So I joined LinkedIn in 2008, but I did nothing for 12 years. Right, you know this about me. For 12 years, I was completely absent from the platform. I might accept a connection request here and there, but I certainly didn't get a lot of them because I wasn't visible, I wasn't active. It wasn't until 2020 that I started commenting, I started posting, and I started to build a community there. So I would say 6 years to really go from basically almost nothing, maybe a couple of hundred, to the 26,000 plus.
What made you think that people start following?
Why do I think they started following me? Hopefully because they liked what I had to say. I think I tried really hard to always share knowledge that was helpful. And when I first started, I was really talking about the fashion industry, right? Because that's the work that I still did. I was super passionate about sustainability, and so I talked a lot about sustainability in the fashion industry. I shared points of view that I thought were helpful. I shared resources that people might want to check out. And I also, again, I supported others, right? I started showing up on other people's posts, and I would comment and I would have conversations. And I think that that's really attractive to people, right? People come to LinkedIn in large part because they want to meet other people, have conversations, share knowledge, not just post when you need something, not just post to say, hey, I got a job, and then disappear. I really think it's that collaboration and that engagement that people are looking for.
I think it's kindness too, because where everyone's talking about AI and the technologies, and for the technologists, it's like, oh, well, everything you could use AI, but there's a part of things that AI cannot replace is the human connection. Unfortunately, a lot of people that didn't used to think that LinkedIn is important. I mean, if you work for the government, obviously you cannot use social media platform. That's part of the job. I think that a lot of people, like myself, for a long time, I was not really using LinkedIn because I didn't have to. I have a job, right? But one of the things that people don't really think about, like just because you have a W-2 job doesn't mean that you have security. Look at Oracle.
Yes. Look at me.
Yes. And so, you at least, you had like some time to adjust. And I think sometimes things happen for a reason. And there's always a silver lining. If it weren't for like the layoff, and we would not be sitting here today. And if it weren't for, a lot of other things, I would not be sitting here interviewing you because I would most likely be the last person that would actually have a podcast.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And, I like to say that LinkedIn changed my life, and I know that sounds silly, but it really has. All of these things that have happened to me in the last 5 or 6 years really all stem from I decided to show up, I decided to be visible on LinkedIn, I decided to get over my fear of being visible.
Yeah.
And I got over my sort of distaste for social media. And, you make a really good point because LinkedIn today is not the same as LinkedIn 10 years ago, right? It's a vastly different platform. It used to be the place that you would just go when you needed a job, and you would post that you needed a job. And then when you got the job, you would post that you got the job, and then you would disappear until the next time you needed a job. And it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, I think that so many things have changed, and algorithm, we're not going to really go into algorithm, and I think that's Kevin's favorite topic.
Well, even if we did, it would change again by the time this went
Yeah, by
out.
the time this is done, yep. Well, okay, so it becomes obsolete by the time that you learned it. One of the things that I really find very appealing and almost very heartwarming is your willingness to say yes to collaboration. As women, a lot of time it's like we don't necessarily practice boundaries as much as we would like to or need to. So you said yes a lot to projects and collaborations and opportunities. What are your criteria before you say yes?
That's such a good question. We could do the whole podcast about that. First, I believe that there's value in collaboration. You have my 2 books here, which is super kind of you. These are both collaborations, right?
Yes, I have.
These are both
Your
collaborations.
Career Resilience Blueprint, a tactical guide to navigate, change, overcome obstacles, and design your future. And this one, that's really a collaboration. Letters to Lily, Lessons in Leadership and Loving Yourself by Alexian Wines and Melissa Cohen. And I even am a contributor, and so is Heather.
That's right.
Yep, so
both of these are collaborations that never would have come to be if not for LinkedIn. So I believe there's value in almost every collaboration. There's probably value in every one. I think the boundary or the defining reason you do or don't do a collaboration has to be what's your ROI and how big is that I, which is investment, right? So what's your return on investment and how big is your investment? If a project is going to require a huge time commitment, what are you getting out of it? Right? If it's a short time commitment, if it's low lift, not a big deal. But there was some time, Letters to Lily was a huge amount of time.
yes.
But the ROI is off the charts for me. The ROI in the joy that I feel every time I see somebody talking about it, every time I see a review on Amazon, every time somebody tells Allie and me how much the book touched their hearts.
It's a movement.
It's a movement. That's right. Thank you. It's a movement. And, the ROI is going to continue. Allie and I are getting speaking engagements around it. There's huge ROI. There's other things that people might ask us to do that the ROI might not be that great, or the ROI for the other person might be much greater than the ROI for us. And so we just have to weigh all these things. How much time do you have to dedicate to something? And are you going to get a significant amount of that investment back in one way or another? It doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be visibility. But it has to be something.
How much does alignment with your values play in your decision making?
Oh, if it's not aligned with my values, it won't happen, right? Like I've been asked to do a couple of even collaboration with a brand, and it just wasn't something that I really believed in. It wasn't anything terrible, but it just wasn't something that I personally believed in. And so I said, no, thank you. Right? It has to be something that is true to who you are as a person, because to me, my brand, that's what's most valuable.
There's power in saying no. And people think that just because they throw some checks at you and then you're going to do it because they think that everybody would come in for the money and everything. And I really do think that looking at the projects that you collaborate with people, coming all the way from New York this morning, only 5 hours sleep, coming here to talking to me, and I had just returned from New York City yesterday. And so I just thought that it was really good because I was like, that's an investment in time, and she's busy. And so I'm really, really grateful that you actually said yes to the in real life podcast recording.
I always say yes to you. Because you and I are aligned.
Well, yes, we are. So thank you for that. You say your personal brand isn't a side project. It's actually a necessary business asset. And besides being a LinkedIn top voice, you are also a personal brand strategist. Do you want to talk about what do people fundamentally misunderstand about that personal brand is not a side project?
So there's a couple of different ways I can take this. I'll probably do 2 of them. So one, I think I always reflect back to when I first came to understand what is a personal brand and why does it matter. And that's when I lost my job. Because when that happened, I realized that so much of my own self-identity was tied up in my title and who I worked for. And that's a really dangerous thing because as we were talking about a few minutes ago, that's not a guarantee. You think that you could, it doesn't matter how long you've been there, it doesn't matter how senior you are, it doesn't matter how well liked you might be. There is no such thing as 100% job security when you are working for someone else. And so having your whole self-identity tied up in your employer is really dangerous. We live in an increasingly online world, right? Everything is online now. So if you are interviewing for a job, maybe it's a W-2 job, that's okay. If you're interviewing for a job, where is probably the first place that hiring manager or that recruiter or that internal HR person is going to go?
LinkedIn and social media.
LinkedIn and social media, especially LinkedIn. And if you don't show up there at all, that's a red flag. If you show up in a way that's not favorable, it's a red or a yellow flag, depending on what that means, right? If it's that your profile is very outdated, it's probably just a yellow flag, but it's still a yellow flag. And the job market as a whole has become so highly competitive. Anything that you can do to stand out in a favorable, positive way is only going to benefit you, right? If you're up against X number of other candidates, why not give yourself the best start right out of the gate? But it's not just for corporate people, right? If you are a business owner, if you are a coach, if you are looking for clients, if you are starting your own thing, your brand is why people are going to hire you, right? They're not going to hire you for XYZ company. That really doesn't mean anything to anyone. I always joke that I named my business with my initials because that just seemed like the thing to do. If I could do that all over again, of course I'd give it a much cooler name. But nobody is looking for MBC Consulting Solutions. They're looking for me because the brand is me. And when people hire me, it's because of the brand that I've built online and off, but certainly largely online because that's where people are going to find you. And so it is your LinkedIn, 100%. I think LinkedIn is the most important platform to build a brand. But it's your other socials as well. It's your website. It's your podcast, perhaps. It's your email marketing. It's your Substack. It's anything and everything that you have that all needs to be cohesive and it needs to be true to who you are.
I think consistency is so important, especially across platforms. Because people might actually research you. You never know, right?
They do.
They do. Yeah, especially if you have a new project and if you're picking up a new client. When I check on new client, I go to their social media and double check and see are they who they say they are, and like what are their presence? Are they aligned with what I believe in? That's a big one. I mean, it didn't used to be as big because this is 6 years for VPG. Early on, I just need to pay bills. We are at different parts of the journey, so I think that is important. You distinguish between content problems and positioning problems. For someone consistently posting but still feeling invisible, where should they actually start?
Two things people need to do, right? So one is really figure out, how do you want to show up? What do you want people to know about you? What do you want to be known for? You don't have a frequency problem, right? For better or for worse, and I'd argue largely for worse, AI has made creating content super easy, right? Anybody can churn out content. I posted about this the other day. I think I ruffled a few feathers. That's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
They're not your people. Feathers will grow again.
And some of them are my people. My whole point was, if you are relying 100% on AI and you're just copy pasting and you're not really using your lived experience, your subject matter expertise, what you've done as a person, as a professional, you're just missing out and you're just sounding very homogenized, right? AI cannot share your lived experience. It hasn't done the things that you've done. It can just give you a very sort of middle-of-the-road sanitized version of whatever you put in there.
And they agree with you so much more than you want them to agree.
Oh, yes, they tell you you're brilliant all the time, right?
Yes.
And I know you can change settings and whatnot and ask for, mean AI or whatever. But anyway, figure out what you want to be known for. Figure out what do you want your positioning to be. If you are posting about 15 different things... Okay, so I know we weren't going to talk about the algorithms.
We can talk about it.
But we have to talk about it a little bit. The algorithms have gone through a huge change in the last few months, right? So it used to be that your feed was basically who you know, right? It would be the people that you were connected to, the people whose content you engaged with in the past. All your friends would show up in your feed. People have been complaining that their friends are no longer showing up because the feed is now very much expertise-based. So if you've shown interest in a particular topic, the algorithms are going to put that topic in your feed. much more so than they're going to just put people that you're connected with. At the same time, the algorithms are reading your profile, your content, your actions to see if they're all aligned, right? So if you are a life coach and you post about being a life coach, if you post about problems you've solved for your clients, if you post about what it means to be a life coach, how you came into life coaching, etc., that's going to make sense. If you start posting about scuba diving, the algorithms are confused. It doesn't know what to do with that content because it doesn't align with your profile and what you say you do. Now, of course, if you went on a fantastic scuba diving vacation and you want to post about that, that's fine. But if your content frequently starts becoming about random topics that don't have anything to do with your subject matter expertise, you're confusing the algorithms. And so more than ever, it's really important to solidify, what do you want to be known for? Where do you want your positioning to be? I want people to think of me as a personal branding and LinkedIn strategist. And my sort of niche that I put myself in is exactly this: helping you stand apart from everyone else, right? There are other LinkedIn strategists who will focus on other things. They'll focus on social selling, or they'll focus on different parts of the platform. To me, in this world of AI, this world of, ease of content creation, it's really important to stand out. And there were two things that I was going to talk about, and I've completely forgotten what the second one was.
It's okay.
Wait, what was your original question?
I was so mesmerized.
Wait, we were talking about, a frequency okay. The other thing besides,
we'll edit this.
Yes. Or not.
Or not.
Hopefully. The other thing is my favorite thing in the world, which is commenting, right? So it's not just about how much content can you put out there. It's how are you commenting? How are you adding value to other people's conversations through your comments? And I don't mean just saying great post or thanks for sharing or any of those things, but really leaving a thoughtful, meaningful comment that adds to the conversation that somebody is going to respond to. And all of a sudden, you're having a dialogue or a group conversation with people. Nothing makes me happier than seeing that on people's posts.
Well, you always talk about don't post and ghost. So, want to talk a little bit about that?
Do not post and ghost. Exactly.
Why?
So, well, first of all, it's just kind of rude, right? So post and ghost means you post and then you leave. And you don't comment on anybody else's content. And even if some people do comment on your post, you don't respond. And to me, that's the same as if you were at a dinner party and someone said something to you. Someone said, "Oh, Ashley, that's a really nice jacket you're wearing." Would you just look at me and then walk away? Or would you say, "Oh, thank you so much. I really like what you're wearing." Or, "Oh, thank you so much. My boyfriend gave it to me." Or whatever, right? You would start having a conversation about it. LinkedIn isn't any different. If somebody takes the time, energy, and effort to say something meaningful on your post, I think you should respond back.
So that's wonderful, but we live in an attention economy. So what are your advice in terms of once you do a post? I've heard different, strategists that talk about once they do the initial post, they will stick around for maybe the first hour and do the comments. What are your thoughts on those type of strategies?
So that's the golden hour.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, there's no magic formula. If one thing worked perfectly for every single person, then that person would be a billionaire by just talking.
Everybody will be top voice.
Exactly. There's no right answer for everyone. What I tell my clients to do is, if you know that you're going to post at 9 a.m., come onto LinkedIn at 8:50. Find a few posts that you want to engage with. Make a few meaningful comments. Let your post go live. Respond to the first couple of comments. If you don't have an hour to spend, that's fine. I honestly don't expect anybody to spend a solid hour on LinkedIn just waiting for comments or making comments. I do it myself because I genuinely enjoy it, and I have the flexibility of schedule to do it. I always post in the morning, and I very, very rarely take client calls before 10 a.m. Very rarely. Sometimes I do, but very rarely, because I know that that's the time that I want to dedicate to doing exactly that. But not everybody can do that, and not everybody wants to do that, and that's fine. But spend a little bit of time around the time that you post, making sure that you get to those early commenters, and then check in a few times throughout the day. It's lunchtime. You have coffee break. You have a few minutes between calls. Go see if you have some comments, and if you do, respond to them.
That's really good advice. And then I wanted to also talk a little bit about authenticity versus optics. You know that my spider sense kind of all go up when people talk about authenticity. I think the word is so overused. So now I've actually seen people that said that they are authentic when they are not. So kind of burned about that. So for example, it was a Gen Zer from my team that talked to me about what catfishing is. And then I also learned a little bit about how engagement pods actually work. And then sometimes people manufacture growth. It's like when you make a post, yeah, you could have the best post written by AI, but if you don't really make it your own, then for the lack of better word, it's fake. And so where's the line? And does LinkedIn actually enforce anything when they see this type of behavior?
You want me to ruffle more feathers? I see. Let's see how this is going. Okay, so I always make...
That's authenticity.
It is. So I actually joke about the LinkedIn version of catfishing, which is when you use a profile photo from 20 years ago, and then you show up in real life and you don't look anything like that photo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We've all had that experience, right? Where you only know someone from their LinkedIn profile, you meet them in person, and you don't recognize them. My LinkedIn headshot is professionally done by a wonderful photographer with studio lighting.
Allison, right?
Alyssa,
okay.
Studio lighting. She knows what she's doing behind the camera. I had hair and makeup done. That is the best version of me that I'll ever see again. But it still looks like me, right? People don't walk by me and not recognize me. So use a reasonably authentic photo. It's great that it's the best photo that you've ever taken. That's wonderful. Make it look like you. A lot of people use AI headshots nowadays. Be careful with them, right? I have nothing against them if they look like you. If it's when they don't look like you that people question if your profile photo doesn't look like you, what else isn't real? Engagement pods. I really hate engagement pods, and they're more prolific than we think. And they're also easier to spot than we think, right? So I think we've all seen these people who every single one of their posts gets high 3 and sometimes 4-figure reactions, hundreds of comments, and a huge number of reposts. I have been posting consistently on LinkedIn for 5 years, let's say. I have had a handful of posts ever do that. A handful, as in 3 or 4.
Can you talk a little bit about how engagement pods actually work?
I'm happy to say I'm not the expert, but as best as I understand them, yes.
Yeah.
So you pay to be part of a group, and some people call it a mastermind, some people call it I don't even know what else they call it, but some kind of group, right? Mm-hmm. And in this group, you share your post, you share a link to your post, and it goes into some massive AI-generated pod where it's not even real people necessarily reacting to your post. It's automated. It's all done through automation. It's all bots. And so that's why you'll see them coming through so quickly. And you'll see that the comments, they've actually gotten a little bit better and more sophisticated. They used to all be great post, thanks for sharing, spot on, great insights, just very sort of generic things that could apply to anything. As with everything else, they've gotten smarter, they've gotten better. So some of the comments are a little bit more realistic now, or a little bit more fleshed out, but there's no human way that somebody is getting that kind of engagement on every single post that they write, especially when you take a look at some of them sometimes. And I'm not really trying to be snarky, but some of them just aren't that good, right? It's not the kind of content that is legitimately going to go viral. And this is every single post.
Yeah, I mean, those are the things that I'm it irks me.
It irks me too. One, because I've worked really hard to get the engagement and the following that I have. I work super hard for every comment, for every reaction that I get, right? And so to see that just sort of being fake automated is disappointing. I also really don't like it because I have clients who see that and think that there's something wrong with them because they're not getting those results. They think they're doing something wrong because their posts don't all have 675 likes and 112 reposts.
I'm lucky if I get 100. I'm already super happy.
100 is great.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my benchmark for myself, right? If I get at least 100 reactions, I'm happy. 200, I'm fantastic. And I think that's great. And every one of them is
You'll
real.
be singing in the rain.
Yes, because those are great numbers. And so people strive for these inflated artificial numbers, and it's a self-defeating search because you're never going to get there organically.
This question I cannot not ask with a LinkedIn top voice here. You and I have known each other for quite some time. I'm just curious. From the first time when you did the for the follow with me, what made you decide to choose me or any of the other people? And then a few years down the road now that I actually took the time to do a professional headshot, but I don't generally do makeup. So when I had to go to a professional headshot, they did hair and makeup for me. And I was like, this is not what I look like right now, but that was the best version of me. I really like what you said. And then I would ask people, it's like, am I catfishing? And they were like, no, you still look like you. I was wondering, what was your observation of my progress on my LinkedIn journey from a top voice? Inquiring minds want to know.
So why I pick anyone for to follow is they're good LinkedIn citizens, right? So my biggest criteria, 99% of the time, I'll make an occasional exception, is that you post content regularly, right? Because if I'm going to tell somebody, oh, here's somebody you should follow, well, they should be following you to learn from you, right? Because you share interesting things. So that's sort of my criteria number one. I also like to see people who engage and are supportive of others, and that's certainly you. You're probably one of the most supportive people I see on LinkedIn. You are constantly talking about other people, shouting out other people, giving other people a spotlight, and sharing your platform with other people. So that would have been why I would have included you in the beginning. I see a huge leap in your LinkedIn journey. I think you've gained so much confidence. I see you posting really frequently now, and I feel like there's an ease to your posting that I can feel. I feel like it's just much more free, for lack of a better word. Like, it's just easy. It feels very authentic. Not that it didn't feel authentic before, but I feel like you've kind of come into your own, if that makes any sense.
Do you know what Sasha Stroud used, the word that he used to describe me for podcasting? Unhinged. Like, what?
And how do you feel about that word?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Sasha, this one for you. I'm not sure that I'm completely unhinged here.
So we have to talk.
I think I am more at ease.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, what matters? What are the most important LinkedIn shifts in 2026 that users can afford to ignore, in your opinion?
Yeah, so the algorithm shifts you cannot afford to ignore. If you still want visibility, you have to make sure that your profile and your content and even your engagement, although the engagement can be more widespread, but your content and your profile have to align. They have to align for the algorithms to know what to do with you. And that's a shift that people are really having a hard time getting used to. I also think you cannot ignore the importance of engaging with other people. I've been saying this for years, but I think it's just even more important than ever. The algorithms are looking for a good LinkedIn citizen, somebody who is adding value to other people as well as expecting it. I think those are the two absolute biggest things. I think the third thing that we have to understand is how much AI generated content is out there, good, bad, or indifferent. And so how are you going to differentiate yourself? How are you going to stand out? There's so much more content. Right? Whatever you're talking about, there's more people than ever talking about it too, because AI has made it easier. So what's going to be your differentiator? What's going to be your unique angle that nobody else has that are going to make people want to learn from you?
To close, what's next for you in the next chapter? What projects or adventures are you excited to share with our audience?
Well, I'm excited to be doing a LinkedIn Lab with you.
Yeah!
Right after this. That's going to be amazing. I'm excited about Letters to Lily. I really am. I'm excited to watch. Oh, thank you.
Letters to Lily.
Wherever books are sold. I'm excited to really see where that's going to continue to go. We're having more events. We're having more conversations. We're doing more speaking around it. And I just think, as we were talking about, in this day and age of AI, technology really driving so much, human connection is more important than ever. And that is what Letters to Lily is all about.
And to close also, I want to share our little raccoons here is from my former attorney's kids. When I left my last job, this was my Christmas gift. The kids went on Amazon. They're like, oh, I have a Urban Raccoons Properties Management Den, and they went on and looked for a raccoon statue for me.
I love it.
And you know, like in my book, The Leadership Catalyst, which I didn't bring, is also wherever books are sold on, especially on Amazon. And they really like inspire me. So you saw that I have a bubblegum canvas of the raccoons with glasses, and my friends like buying all these things like raccoons statues for me. So this was from Dan's daughter, Emmy, and Lizzie.
Oh,
So,
I love it.
so that was really cool. And then I also want to thank you for getting me this wonderful bracelet that says "You got this." So
Shout
on
out
that,
to Little Birds Project.
yeah, shout out to Little Word Project, the original word bracelet. Thank you. Wear your word to lift you up. Wear your word to lift you up, then pass it on. So thank you.
Of course.
And really awesome to have you here today, and can't wait to have the LinkedIn up later.
I know, me too.
So thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you.
Really, really grateful to be a friend, and then grateful for you to travel all the way here to get this recording completed.
I'm so excited.
And now
to do
you can
this.
say that you have done the recording, and then eventually you'll be on the release of the virtual water cooler chat.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you.